The most dangerous financial decision of your life is the one you were taught to be proud of. You got a job, maybe a good one, a steady paycheck that lands in your account on the same day every 2 weeks like clockwork. And somewhere along the way, someone told you that was security. That was the smart move, the responsible adult thing to do. I'm going to spend the next few minutes showing you why that exact thing, the paycheck you depend on, has quietly become the riskiest asset you own. And before you assume this is another video screaming that artificial intelligence is coming to take your job, it's not. The truth is stranger and a lot closer to home. AI isn't the real threat. The threat is something you've been trained your whole life to see as safe. Here's the uncomfortable part. The people who get hurt the most over the next 10 years won't be the lazy ones. They won't be the reckless ones. They'll be the responsible ones. The ones who did everything right, who showed up, worked hard, never missed a day, and trusted that loyalty would be repaid. If that makes you a little uncomfortable, good. Sit in it for a second. That discomfort is the most useful thing you'll feel today because it means part of you already knows. Let me tell you what actually changed, because almost nobody explains this part honestly. 2 generations ago, a single income could carry an entire family. One person worked, and that one paycheck bought a house, raised the kids, covered a car, and still left a little behind for a pension. There was an unspoken contract. You give the company your years, and the company gives you stability. You were a person to them. You had a name. That contract is dead. And it didn't die in some dramatic explosion. It died quietly, in spreadsheets, in restructuring memos, in the slow realization that you are now a line item. And line items get optimized. Look at the math nobody wants to say out loud. Workers today are far more productive than their grandparents ever were. We produce more, faster, with better tools than any generation in history. And yet wages have barely moved. You are doing more and keeping less. If you've ever felt like you're sprinting and somehow still sliding backwards, you are not imagining it. The ground genuinely shifted under your feet, and most people never felt it move. And if you felt exactly that, and never had the words for it, do one small thing for me. Tap that like button, not for me. It's the one signal that tells this platform to put this in front of the people quietly drowning in the same thing, the ones too proud to say it out loud. You might be saving someone a very expensive lesson, because here's the trap. The danger of a slow shift is that it never feels like an emergency. The paycheck keeps coming. The direct deposit keeps hitting. Everything looks fine, right up until the day it isn't. Let me tell you about a company that saw the future, held it in its own hands, and chose comfort anyway. In 1975, an engineer at Kodak built something that didn't exist yet. A camera that captured images with no film at all. The first digital camera. He carried it to the executives, the people running one of the most powerful companies on earth, a brand so dominant its name became a verb. People didn't take pictures, they took Kodak moments. And done. And those executives looked at the literal future of their own industry sitting in their hands, and they basically said, "That's cute. Put it away," because their money came from film. Film was the paycheck. Film was safe. Why would they kill the thing paying everyone's salary? For a while that looked like genius. The paychecks kept coming. Tens of thousands of people in Rochester, New York, built entire lives around Kodak. Homes, families, futures, all anchored to one reliable employer. It felt permanent. It felt like the safest bet in the world. You already know how this ends. The future they buried showed up anyway. Digital didn't ask permission, and in 2012, Kodak, the verb, the empire, the safe job for an entire city, filed for bankruptcy. Here's the part that should stay with you tonight. The people who lost the most weren't the ones who took risks. They were the ones who trusted the paycheck the most loyal, the ones who never built anything outside that single income. Because why would they? It felt safe. So let me ask you something, and I actually want the answer. Drop it in the comments before you keep watching, because your answer tells you something about your own exposure. If your main paycheck vanished tomorrow, no warning, how many months could you survive? Not would it be hard. How many months? Type the number. I read these, and the honest ones tend to wake people up faster than anything I could say. So let me make good on what I promised at the start. AI is not the real threat, and I'll go further. AI was never the enemy. AI is just the newest name for a force that's been quietly running for 200 years. The slow, relentless drop in the value of ordinary human labor. The loom did it to the weavers. The engine did it to the horse and cart. The spreadsheet wiped out entire floors of bookkeepers. Every single time, a machine showed up that could do a slice of what a human did. Cheaper, faster, never sleeping. And every single time, people made the same mistake. They asked the wrong question. They asked, how do I compete with the machine? When the question that actually mattered was, how do I own a piece of it? Here's the paradigm shift, and I need you to feel this, not just hear it. The danger in your life is not that a robot takes your job. The danger is that you have exactly one source of income, and you don't control it. Someone else decides if it exists tomorrow. Someone else decides what it's worth. Someone else decides when it ends. You don't own your income, you rent it. And the landlord can evict you with 2 weeks' notice and a cardboard box. That's the trap nobody names. We've been trained to obsess over the job. Keep it, protect it, stay ahead of AI. But that's like arguing over which seat is safest on a train that's slowing down at every station. The smart move was never to find a better seat. It was to own a piece of the track. And this is exactly where most advice fails you. They tell you to learn a new skill, get the certification, reskill, upskill, run faster on the treadmill, and look, skills matter. But if all you do with a new skill is rent it back to one employer for one paycheck, you haven't escaped anything. You've just made yourself a slightly more expensive line item. The dependency didn't change. You're still one decision, made by someone who has never even met you, away from zero. So if a single income is this fragile, why does almost everyone build their entire life on it? Why don't more people escape? The answer isn't that they're stupid. The answer is psychology, and it's working against you right now in ways you can't see. First, comfort is addictive, not as a figure of speech, literally. A predictable paycheck gives your brain the one thing it craves more than money: certainty. Your nervous system would rather have a guaranteed small thing than an uncertain better thing. That's why people stay in jobs they quietly hate. It's not the money. It's that the misery is familiar, and familiar feels safe. Remember those Kodak executives? Same wiring. They didn't bury the future because they were dumb. They buried it because the future was uncertain, and the film checks were comfortable. Second, status. We don't buy things. We buy what things say about us. The new truck in the driveway, the lease nobody can actually afford, the phone we replace every year. We're not buying objects. We're buying a sentence, "I'm doing fine." And that sentence is brutally expensive. Every dollar spent performing success for people who aren't even watching is a dollar that could have bought you a real asset. You end up financing the appearance of freedom while staying completely trapped. Third, dopamine. The spending you regret 5 minutes later isn't a money problem, it's an emotional one. The day grinds you down, stress hits, and the fastest, cheapest painkiller on earth is a purchase, a little hit. For about 5 minutes you feel better. Then the statement shows up. Multiply that by a few hundred small moments a year, and you've quietly handed away the exact money that could have bought your way out. Fourth, and this is the quiet one, conditioning. You were programmed before you could even spell the word budget. Go to school, get the job, stay loyal, retire at the end. That script made sense in your grandfather's economy. In yours, it's borderline dangerous. But it runs on autopilot, and questioning it almost feels like you're doing something wrong. Like wanting more than a paycheck makes you ungrateful. Now I want you to be honest with yourself, because here's where it gets personal. Look at those four. Comfort, status, dopamine, conditioning. One of them runs your life more than the others, and you already know which one. So do this. Put it in the comments. Just the word. Comfort, status, dopamine, conditioning. Naming the trap out loud is the first crack in it, and reading the ones other people admit to is going to hit a lot harder than you expect. So let's talk about the way out, because if I leave you scared and don't hand you a map, I've just made your night worse for no reason. There is a way out. It's not fast, it's not sexy, and that's exactly why it works, because most people won't do it. It starts with one question. One question that quietly separates the people who stay trapped from the people who get free. Every time money touches your life, ask, does this make money while I sleep or only while I'm awake? That's the whole game. A paycheck only pays you while you're awake, working, present, useful. The moment you stop, it stops. Wealth is what keeps moving after you've left the room. So the first shift is ownership over labor. Labor is renting yourself out by the hour. Ownership is owning the thing that other people's labor, or other people's money, or a piece of software, or a brand pays into. You will never get free trading hours for dollars, because you have a fixed number of hours and they run out. Owners don't have that ceiling. The goal was never to work more hours. It's to own things that don't need your hours at all. Second, every dollar you keep is an employee. Most people fire their dollars the second they earn them, straight out the door, onto things that lose value the moment you touch them. The wealthy do the opposite. They send their dollars to work and never see them again, on purpose. A dollar put into ownership, into assets that compound, becomes a tiny worker that shows up every single day, never complains, never quits, and slowly hires more workers just like it. Boring, completely. That's why it works. Now, quick pause, because you've earned the rest of this, and I want to make sure it actually lands. What I'm about to walk through next is the part most people never hear, because it's the line between staying a renter your whole life and quietly building an exit. If that's the side you want to be on, subscribe right now, not as a favor to me, but so that the next time your brain tries to slip back onto autopilot, this keeps showing up to pull you off it. The people who escape aren't smarter than you. They're just the ones who kept hearing the truth until it finally stuck. Okay, third, leverage your skill instead of renting it. Renting a skill means trading it 1 hour at a time, one client at a time, one boss at a time. Leveraging it means turning it into something that works without you in the room. A product, a system, a piece of content, something one person builds once that many people can use. The plumber who fixes one sink gets paid once. The plumber who films how he does it, builds an audience, and sells what he knows gets paid while he sleeps. Same skill, completely different math. Fourth, attention and digital leverage. This is the part your grandfather never had, and it's the single biggest unfair advantage of your lifetime. For almost all of human history, reaching 1,000 people took a factory, a storefront, a printing press, permission. Today it takes a phone and the willingness to be bad at it for a while. One person, right now, can build something that reaches more people overnight than an entire company could reach in a decade 50 years ago. That reach is an asset. It converts into income in more ways than I could list here, but only if you start before you feel ready. And fifth, the one that ties it all together. Never have just one landlord. One income is a single point of failure. Two is a cushion. Three or more, and losing any one of them becomes an inconvenience instead of a catastrophe. They don't need to be big. They need to be separate, because the day your main paycheck wobbles, and in this economy it will wobble, you want to be the person who shrugs, not the person who panics. None of this is a lottery ticket. There is no overnight in here. It's slow, it compounds, And it's almost embarrassingly unglamorous. But that's the secret hiding in plain sight. The boring path is wide open precisely because everyone else is still chasing the exciting one. So let's talk about time, because this is the part that decides everything, and almost nobody feels it until it's too late. The window doesn't slam shut. That's what makes it dangerous. It narrows, quietly, a little, every year. And here's the math that should make you sit up. Wealth is built on compounding, and compounding is brutally unfair to people who start late. Two people, same income, same discipline, same effort. One starts at 35, the other starts at 45, 10 years apart. By the end, they aren't a little apart, they're in different universes. Not because one worked harder, because one gave their money more time to do the work for them. That's the cost of waiting that no one puts on the price tag. Every year you stay fully dependent on one paycheck isn't a neutral year. It's a year you can never buy back. Time is the one asset you cannot earn more of, cannot borrow, cannot manufacture. And it's leaking right now while you watch this. And the leverage we talked about, the early advantage of owning attention, of building something digital, of getting in before the crowd, that gap is closing too. Every month more people wake up to it. The door is open today wider than it'll be next year. Not because the world is ending, but because being early is the entire advantage. And early has an expiration date. So here's the real reframe. The one I actually want you to carry out of here. You were sold a lie about what wealth is. They showed you yachts and mansions and watches, and they told you that's the dream, so that you'd spend your whole life chasing a flex and never notice you were still trapped. That's not wealth. That's a costume. Real wealth is optionality. It's the power to say no, to walk away from the boss, the city, the situation, the life that's slowly grinding you down, and be fine. It's being the person who survives the layoff, the diagnosis, the divorce, the thing you never saw coming because you built something underneath you that doesn't depend on one fragile paycheck. It was never about luxury, it was always about freedom, resilience, choice, the quiet, almost unbelievable power of never needing anyone's permission again. The paycheck made you feel safe. But safe and free are not the same thing, and the gap between them is the whole game. You have less time than you think to close it, so start closing it today while the window's still open. Right now, there's another video sitting on your screen, and I lined it up on purpose because the most dangerous thing you can do with everything you just felt is close this app and let it fade away by morning. Momentum dies fast. Don't give your brain time to talk you back to sleep. Tap it, and let's keep this window open a little longer.